Hello, everybody. I'm so glad I can join this lecture series entitled Peaceful Reunification of Korea, Why the Only Way to World Peace. Now our eyes are really healing in the DMZ that I've been investing my whole life, like 31 years in the DMZ. I found the footprints of tigers, and the Korean scientists found the group of leopards in the DMZ and CCG, actually in CCG. And I shot black bear is captured by, motion camera. And lynx, Amur coral, mountain sheep, and a lot of other endangered mammals. What about bird species? Endangered red-crowned, this one, white-naped, black-faced spoonbills, and black purpose endangered species, other than beautiful. I don't remember these birds' names, but beautiful bird species from Japan to Russia. They are, spending times in the Korean DMZ. And what about fish species? What about mountain kamgang and surak is merged in the DMZ? And sources of 5 rivers, thousands of vascular plants and flowers. We need to discover more. Remember? So that many scientists, many environmentalists, so much fascinated and joined our movement in 1997. That's why we formed this nonprofit organization in New York, 1997. And, that turning the DMZ into UN Peace Zone as a nature and peace sanctuary. And now I added as a healing and education purposes. I learned in the last 30 years. And we actually provided scientific inquiry, many scientists. This is scientific reason, strategic planning, architects, environmental planners, media, increasing awareness of unique biological and cultural resources of Korean DMZ, transferring from war zone to a peace zone among humans and between humans and nature, environmental protection. This is our, founding board members, Stephen Bosworth, former ambassador to Korea and dean of Tufts University Fletcher School, and Casey Kim is professor of Penn State University of entomology, and me at New York University, and Yasuko Karaki is a Manhattan law firm, a founding treasurer living in Manhattan, and Bill Shore, my close colleague at NYU, and Arthur Westing, another big influencer to me, and Ethel Tabak is former curator of American Museum of Natural History in Manhattan. You have to visit this museum if you did not. And then, Stephen Bosworth at our conference, our honorary chair, and Yasuko Karaki in his inner Manhattan apartment, and Bill Shaw, my dear friend at Mountain Kumgang in North Korea. This is Ethel Tabak, curator of American Museum of Natural History, and me at NYU, Casey Kim, Penn State, and famous political scientist, Professor Scott Pinner, UC Berkeley. And here, Deborah Nashos, Manhattan architects who developed our first website, voluntarily. And then I should remember Arthur Westing. But unfortunately, everybody here passed away, unfortunately, except me and Dr. Casey Kim, and retired at home. So they are watching us from heaven. And Arthur Westing is a close friend. He reported the UNEP in 1993 that actually inspired me to get into the project of the DMZ Forum. It's a Transfrontier Reserves for Peace and Nature, contribution to human security. Actually, he was about to visit North Korea in 1992 before finishing this report. But remember, at the time, North Korea's nuclear issues was, problem to US. And because of that, he couldn't visit North Korea. And since then, he never able to do that. Very sad. But you should remember this report. Now, but still, we have a hope. Current board members, active board members from diverse universities, from diverse expertise, from Harvard. He's a plant specialist. He went to North Korea. And he's very quiet, very sincere researcher and scientist. And you know that Lisa Brady from Boys, history professor. And you got to remember Salim Ali, professor at Delaware University, expertise in energy and environment. And Professor Lena Kim, you might know her, anthropology major, UC Irvine. And Sally Kim, Amherst College, biology professor. So we need to think about how to re-engage these expertise, these professors, now sort of dormant because of many reasons, but we need to think very hard to re-engage. So here's David Bufford from Harvard, Elena Kim, Lisa Brady, Sally Kim, Salim Ali, and supporters. The Kofi Annan, remember him? In early stage, strong supporters. He said that clearly remembered, hey, you guys, the DMZ Forum's mission statement is very similar to UN mission statement of peace among humans and peace between humans and nature. I strongly support you people in the DMZ Forum. What about Ban Ki-moon? I met him. He told me that you guys, DMZ Forum, has really have a truly noble cause. His word, noble cause. And what about this UNESCO World Heritage Site, assistant director? He came to Seoul at the invitation of Korean DMZ. He said he's willing to consider and no reason to reject if North and South Korea submit the application of Korean DMZ to be designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, either cultural or natural or combined. Doesn't matter, he said. UNEP strongly support since then, and Professor Salim Ali, forum's board members, is a researcher and member of UNEP, also professor at University of Delaware. He is very active, so we need to reach out as a first person to be reached. And at the time, Jimmy Carter was active, although I heard that he's passing 100th birthday, thankfully. And Nelson Mandela supported, conference in Seoul. And the former Minister of Unification of South Korea, good friend. And professor at Columbia, Charles Armstrong, supported, historical sense, history professor, along with Lisa Brady and Salim Ali. And there are many other supporters. Here, the Ambassador Stephen Bosworth at NYU conference. And Chung Mong-jun is a legislator, National Assembly, also chairman of the Hyundai Heavy Industries. And here is a UN ambassador at Son at the time, and me, and former NYU president and former congressman, and Casey Kim, professor, chair. And Donald Gregg, strong support, chairman of Korean Society in New York, Korea Society in New York. And he was ambassador to South Korea. And I should recognize Ambassador Harry Barnes, ambassador to Romania, is a strong supporter, has also linkage to North Korea. And he was at the U.S. Congress, the former Congressman Cott Weldon from Pennsylvania, along with Paul Healy and George Archbold, is a birdsman, crane conservation people from Chicago, and me and Casey Kim. They're still very active, especially Paul Healy. He was also kind of temporarily the DMZ Forum president when he's doing work in Ambon, North Korea. And we got to also recognize famous E.O. Wilson in Harvard, sociologist and entomologist. It said that Korean DMZ is like a rolling Yosemite and Gettysburg together. There's a military reason and environmental reason. Its prospects for ecotourism is astronomical, he said. And Carl Weiss, the peacemaker, I remember, in a personal meeting, he's also financial supporter. If one person dreams, it's a dream. If everybody dreams, it becomes a reality. He's a strong supporter of peace and DMZ Forum. And what about this person from John Klotz from Sierra Club? Is enthusiastic about DMZ Forum's goals. And what about This guy, Ted Turner, is founder of CNN. He's a very energetic person still, but because of political situation in 2006 and 2007 of a North Korean nuclear test, his dream kind of faltered and no more engaged. So it is 2004 and 2005, he visited Pyongyang through his private jet and came to Seoul and envisioning transforming the part of Korean DMZ into a tiger reserve where tigers can roam freely in their natural habitat in portions of Korean DMZ. And remember what he's doing in his, private leisure life, big territory in Montana, raising a lot of cattle and, and running restaurants and very meaningful moments in our DMZ forum activities. And I should recognize the artist Val and Mimin Schaffner in New York City, running Nabi Gallery, a lot of support for the DMZ Forum, especially North Korean reforestation project, the tree planting work. And there are many others, Peter Raven and Misery Botanical Garden, and Colin Rees, Noritaka Echida, BirdLife International, the International Crane Foundation, working closely, Jeffrey McNeely, and James Lee, Special Advisor to DMZ, UN Armistice, and David Bembo, the DMZ Veterans Association. Veterans means after the Korean War, the US soldiers, stationed in the Korean DMZ after the Korean War. So one of them is Christopher Miller, the acting defense minister in the last Trump administration. So his father was a Korean War veteran, and then the Christopher Miller is a DMZ actually veterans. I should mention that he has such a notion of resetting US policy toward North Korea when he's interviewed with some Korean media. So yeah, we'll look forward to his role if Trump administration, if Trump becoming a new president. That's something we should think about. And there are religious leaders we should recognize to the DMZ into UN Peace Zone. So Reverend Sun Myung-moon's speech at the UN headquarters in New York in August 2000. So Reverend Moon said the entire Korean DMZ can be turned into a peace zone under UN jurisdiction and be used as an exhibition halls, museums, educational sites, and peace parks. And to teach visitors, teach and educate important lessons regarding peace. And Dr. Hak Ja-han's speech at the UN office in Vienna, Austria, in May 2015, she proposed transforming the Korean DMZ into a world peace park, accompanied by the establishment of a fifth UN office within its bounds. Amazing. So in her speech in December 2021, we should recognize that Korea has never invaded neighboring countries in history. When Korea was called Gojoseon, Dangun Joseon, long time ago, Korea was a nation occupying all the territory of the current China. Koreans have been called a people of white clothes because they hate words and respect the heaven. So in order to avoid such words, they ended up living in the Korean peninsula. So I should add these remarks to my first lecture about Korean cultural history. What about this religious leader? She was a White House advisor to President Trump, Pastor Paula White. She also mentioned in 2021 that Korea has been invaded by other countries over 900 times, but you never invaded another country to expand its own territory. And as Americans, we have a God-given responsibility to restore North and South Korea to be one nation and one people again. So if you have time to read her text, there are many others, recent supporters in the last 4 years. Washington Times Foundation, Universal Peace Federation, USA, Estonia. This is Korean Institute of National Unification, and Hyojong International Foundation for the Unity of the Sciences, and YSP USA, and Women Federations of World Peace, in which I all gave lectures and presentation. And International Leadership Conference, USA, Europe, and the Los Angeles CARP, UPEP, IMAP, YSP Regional Synergy event, Los Angeles CARP, Women's Federation for World Peace, and United Nations Association, Republic of Korea, and Los Angeles chapter of PWPA, Professors World Peace Academy, all supporters of DMZ Forum. And I was really honored to give presentation and lectures about the importance of Korean DMZ, UN Peace Zone, and peaceful unification of two Koreas. There are many others, Korea and Asia Society. Diwen Wada was a Korean War veterans, and Kepri Linhar Foundation supporting hugely in North Korean tree planting work. American Museum of Natural History, they give their venues for the event of the DMZ Forum. Many times, the 11th World Knowledge Forum in Seoul, Columbia University, New York University, Andrew Kim Sit Investment, Pennsylvania University, and Wildlife Conservation Society in Bronx, New York, the huge zoo. And there's also media support from South Korea. The front page article, 동아일보, and second page, 중앙일보. Wall Street Journal, front page, and Asahi Shimbun. It was done by effort of our founding secretary, Yasuko Karaki. And what about this title? Bitter No Man's Land, Korea's DMZ considers a haven for rare animals. Got a lot of attention by Wall Street Journal. And a lot of CNN reports. Beyond the barbed wire. Accidental paradise. Fascinating picture. This is landmine science over here. And the CNN, after that, this bird species. I gave many interviews for CNN. The mammals, wildlife, endangered mammals. And BBC has got interested a lot lately. This Asiatic bear, directly captured by motion camera. The tiger footprints. And there are many other media, but the Science magazine and the journal Science, really prominent, the journal Science featured our work, and the military newspaper, Stripes. This is US Army newspaper, Stars and Stripes. And, that also there are Nautilus organization I should remember, and also Chicago Tribune. And this one is an active participation is seeking tiger footprints along with the CNN crews in the CCG areas. I dared to seek tigers, but we couldn't find tigers. This National Geographic Special Edition, I worked very close with this edition in 2003, I guess. And Asia Pacific Journal, my article on truth building in the Korean Peninsula, turning Korean DMZ into UNESCO World Heritage Site, still valid. And to promote that, we made this brochure leaflet. A lot of scientific collaboration with Gangwon University in Korea, and then Korea Federation for Environmental Movement, and Seoul National University. So we are nearing to a conclusion of our lecture. Based on this support, we need to reignite the support for the last 30 or more years. There are still people still there, but somehow it's been dormant. So we need to awaken their interest again. as a clearly it's a cultural and religious healing and education zone. Remember, this area as absolute conservation area, as a healing between humans and nature. In the middle area, ecotourism, healing between humans and nature. Crane, International Crane Conservation Sites. Memorial sites. The Korean War dead. Doesn't matter, enemies and foes. We buried together. There's no such burial in the world. We buried together friends and foes after the Korean War. One other example is in the Gettysburg National Cemetery. The buried friends and foes together at the Gettysburg. So in the Western side, we need to focus on more education. Remember, in the first lecture, I focused on Korean culture should be unified above the 38th parallel, the original founding principle, 경천해인 and 홍익인간. This area of North Korea and Manchuria, the Gojoseon, Dangun-Joseon territory. Even in a sense of spiritual way, we need to regain such a spiritual power of peace based on Hallyu, Korean way. Remember, it's based on these founding principles and blended, mixed with major teachings of world from the East, Buddhism and Confucianism and other wisdoms. From the West, Hebraism, Hellenism, and more recently Christianity. And all these are blended in the Korean Hallyu. That's why Korean drama is kind of appealing to many parts of the world, regardless of their cultural background. There's some sort of cultural elements touching their hearts, regardless of Islamic background, indigenous background, communist background, whatever. That's why there's an element of healing, and fifth UN office probably play a role of such an education and healing when you really begin to discuss what the role of the UN fifth office. So UN Peace Park, UNESCO World Heritage Site, Peace Memorial, Ecotourism, Cultural Exhibition Hall, and UN University, and many others. We are open to many discussions of what to do for healing and education, and I believe we can do it. We just reset our mind, especially US policymakers. The first thing should come first before spreading nuclear preparation. We need to freeze North Korean nuclear and ICBM technology by resetting US policy toward North Korea and engage North Korea and Russia and now Japan. Remember, as an economic free zone in East Asia, and Russia is much more interested in than we previously thought because of these reasons I provided. So we can do it. So we young people get together, kind of spread this idea and impact US policymakers. I believe we can do it, and I'm praying, but we should do our own part of responsibility. So let's make it, and thank you, and we hope to see you again online and in real scene of activity, even in Korean DMZ. Thank you, and have a great future. Thank you.